Hello there, everyone. I do remember last time I said I would go down to Sarthal to continue with the Forbidden Legend quest. However, I do remember, the game's called Elder Scrolls and everything, and I do actually have to find the Elder Scroll to be able to continue with the main quest line. And I was complaining about how I couldn't get into the College of Winterhold for a while, and it was only placed at, I could go on about this forever. Really, I need to learn the location of the Elder Scrolls. So, boom, on the map. And here, we are here. Bring up the local map, actually. Yeah, we need to pop back in here. Hall of the Elements. I don't exactly know who we need to talk to, but I'll find out.
It's no secret that the college's reputation in Skyrim is tainted.
Oh, that's nice. In here, the Arcanium. The big library, right. Do. Now, we need to go through here. Is that right? Wait a minute. I don't think that is right. Yeah. It's quite confusing when you've got a lot of objectives. Oh. Right. Right, yeah, there we go. The Arcanium. So many objectives so close together. There is a person to talk to. There are several people in here, actually. I really noticed.
I don't want to see you treating any of these books poorly. Are we clear?
Huh?
An orc that worries about books? Okay.
You are now in the Arcanium, of which I am in charge. It might as well be my own little plane of oblivion. Disrupt my Arcanium, and I will have you torn apart by angry Atronachs. Now, do you require assistance?
Yeah. Is there any college business I can assist with? No, I may as well ask while I'm here.
If you're feeling adventurous, I'm always looking for someone to procure valuable books from some more dangerous locations.
Go on.
Well, all right, here. I scribbled down the last place I'd heard about. Check it out, but be careful.
Okay. Let's have a quick look through what he has got.
Please make sure your hands are clean before touching anything, all right?
Ooh. Got his panties all in a twist. So he sells lots and lots and lots of books. Not lots and lots, he sells some books.
Of course I do. If I didn't, most of these books would have been burned to ashes or dissolved to nothing before the Third Era. Mages need to be reminded to be careful around research materials.
Oh, now I can ask him about the Elder Scroll. Huh. Okay.
A mage is only as good as what he knows. I try to make sure as much knowledge is available as possible. We've been keeping this collection since the Second Era. Books have come and gone during that time, but it's mostly intact. As a matter of fact, there are. Have you ever heard of Shalador? Immensely powerful mage, back in the First Era. Had an understanding of magic few have ever matched. He holed himself up in Labyrinthian, and devoted all his time to research and study, but more than you would imagine possible. Since then, his writings have been scattered all over Skyrim, but are little use to anyone who can't translate them. I'm one of the few who can. I've heard whispers of more of his work having turned up. If you can track it down, it may prove useful to all of us.
Okay. Shalador's writings now. Another thing to find. Great.
And what do you plan to do with it? Do you even know what you're asking about? Or are you just someone's errand boy?
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything like that. Could you just tell me about the scrolls? Come on.
I knew it. Everyone comes in here expecting my help, but they don't even have the proper questions. An Elder Scroll is an instrument of immense knowledge and power. To read an Elder Scroll, a person must have the most rigorously trained mind, or else risk madness. Even so, the Divines usually take the reader's sight as a price.
Oh.
The simplest way to put it is knowledge, but there's nothing simple about an Elder Scroll. It's a reflection of all possible futures and all possible pasts. Each reader sees different reflections through different lenses, and may come away with a different reading. But at the same time, all of it is true, even the falsehoods, especially the falsehoods.
Right, I see.
It would take a month to explain to you how that very question doesn't even make sense. The scrolls exist here, with us, but also beyond and beneath, before and after. They are bits of divine-made substance, so we could know them. Sorry, talking about the scrolls, you usually end up in irritating and vague metaphors like that. Some people who study them devoutly go mad.
Do you have one I could use?
Ah, you think that even if I did have one here, I would let you see it? It would be kept under the highest security. The greatest thief in the world wouldn't be able to lay a finger on it. I don't know who told you that, but I'll do what I can. What we do have are plenty of books. I'll bring everything we have on them, but it's not much. So don't get your hopes up. It's mostly lies, leavened with rumor and conjecture.
Okay.
All right then.
Well, what do I do now then? Do I just wait for you? I suppose I do. Ah, there he goes.
Here you go. Try not to spill anything on them.
Cool. So we've got effects of the Elder Scrolls and ruminations on the Elder Scrolls.
I don't want to see you treating any of these books poorly. Are we clear?
Sure, sure. Right, discerning the transmundane. Has to rag about the insane book. Right, so Septimus Cygnus, College of Winterhold, Ruminations on the Elder Scrolls. Imagine living beneath the waves with a strong-sighted blessing of most excellent fabric. Holding the fabric over your gills, you would begin to breathe, drink its warp and weft. Though the plant matter fibres imbue your soul, the wretched plankton would pollute the cloth until it stank to heavens of prophecy. This is one manner in which the scrolls first came to pass. But are we the sea, or the breather, or the fabric? What the... Or are we the breath itself? Can we flow through the scrolls as knowledge flows through, being the water, or are we the stuck morass of sea filth that gathers on the edge? Imagine, again, this time, but different. A bird cresting the wind is lifted by a gust and downed by a stone, but the stone can come from above, if the bird is upside down. What the... Where, then, did the gust come from, and which direction? Did the gods send either, or has the bird decreed their presence by her own mind-making? The all-sight of the scrolls makes a turning of the mind such that relative positions are absolute in their primacy. Right, that bit I do understand. So it just shows points in time. Good, right. I ask you again to imagine for me, this time you are beneath the ground, a tiny acorn planted by some well-meaning elf maiden of the woodlands for her pleasure. You wish to grow, but fear what you may become. So you push off the water, the dirt, the sun, to stain your hole, but it is in the very pushing that you become a tree. In spite of yourself, how did that happen? The acorn is a kind of tree, egg in this instance, and the knowledge is water and sun. We are the chicken inside the egg, but also the dirt. The knowledge from the scrolls is what we push against to become full-sighted ourselves. One final imagining before your mind closes from the shock of ever knowing, you are now a flame burning bright blue within a vast emptiness. In time you see your brothers and sisters, burnings of their own in the distance, and along your side. A sea of pinpoints, a constellation of memories. Each burns bright, then flickers. Then two more take its place, but not forever lest the void fills with rancid light that sucks the thought. Each of our minds is actually emptiness. The learnings of the scrolls are the pinpoints. Without their stabbing light, my consciousness would be as a vast nothingness. Unknowing its emptiness as a void is unknowing of itself. But the burnings are dangerous, and must be carefully tended and minded, and brought to themselves, and spread to their siblings. Weird. Okay, what about this one? Effects of the Elder Scrolls. It is widely known among scholars that the Elder Scrolls entail a certain hazard in their very reading. The mechanism of the effects has, at present, been largely unknown. Theories of hidden knowledge and divine retribution were the subject of idle speculation with little investigation. I, Justinius Polybius, have undertaken to thoroughly document the ailments afflicted by the Elder Scrolls on their readers, though a unified theory of how they manifest continues to elude me and remains a subject for future study. I have grouped the effects into four, finding that the avenue of experience depends largely upon the mind of the reader. If this is unclear, I hope that a proper dichotomy will lay it plain. Group the first, the nails. For one who has received no training in the history of nature of the Elder Scrolls, the scroll itself is effectively inert. No prophecy can be scried nor knowledge obtained. While the scroll will not impart learning to the uninformed, nor will it afflict them in any adverse fashion. Visually, the scroll will appear to be awash in odd lettering and symbols. Those who know their astronomy often claim to recognize constellations in the patterns and connections, but such conjecture is impossible to further investigate, since the very nature of this study necessitates unlearned subjects. Group the second, the unguarded intellects. It is this second group that realizes the greatest danger from attempting to read the scrolls. These are subjects who have understanding of the nature of the Elder Scrolls and possess sufficient knowledge to actually read what is inscribed there. They have not, however, developed adequate discipline to stave off the mind-shattering effect of having a glimpse of infinity. These unfortunate souls are struck immediately, irrevocably, and completely blind. Such is the price for overreaching one's faculties. It bears mentioning, though, that with the blindness also comes a fragment of that hidden knowledge, whether the future, the past, or the deep natures of the being is dependent on the individual and their place in the greater spheres. But the knowledge does come. Group the third, mediated understanding. Alone in Tamriel, it would appear that only the cult of the Ancestor Moth has discovered the discipline to properly guard the Ancestor Moth, bloody hell, discovered the discipline to properly guard one's mind when reading the scrolls. Their novitiates, is that how you say that? No, novitiates, I suppose, must undergo the most rigorous mental cultivation, and they often spend a decade or more at the monastery before being allowed to read their first Elder Scroll. The monks say this is for the initiate's own protection, as they must have witnessed many unguarded intellects among their more eager ranks. With appropriate fortitude, these readers also receive blindness, though at a far lesser magnitude than the unguarded. Their vision fogs slightly, but they retain shape, colour, and enough acuity to continue to read mundane texts. The knowledge they gain from the scroll is also tempered somewhat. It requires stages of meditation and reflection to fully appreciate and express what one saw. So basically they use unguarded people as sort of cannon fodder while they are learning how to guard their minds. I suppose it's sort of like natural selection or something like that. I don't know. Group the fourth, illuminated understanding. Between the previous group and this one exists a continuum that has at present only been traversed by the monks of the Ancestor Moth. With continued readings, the monks become gradually more and more blind, but receive greater and more detailed knowledge. As they spend their waking hours pondering the revelations, they also receive a further degree of mental fortitude. There is, for every monk, a day of penultimate reading, when the only knowledge the Elder Scroll imparts is that the monk's next reading shall be his last. For each monk, the penultimate reading comes at a different unknowable time. Preliminary work has been done to predict the occurrence by charting the severity of an individual monk's blindness, but all who reach these later stages report that the increasing blindness seems to taper with increased readings. Some pose the notion that some other unseen sense is in fact continuing to diminish at this upper range, but I shall leave such postulations to philosophers. To prepare for his ultimate reading, a monk typically withdraws to seclusion in order to reflect upon a lifetime of revelations and appoint his mind for reception of his last. Upon this final reading, he is forever blinded, as sure as those unguarded ones who raced to knowledge. The illuminated one, though, has retained his understanding over a lifetime and typically possesses a more integral notion of what has been revealed to him. It is hoped that this catalogue will prove useful to those who wish to further our mortal understandings of the Elder Scrolls. The moth priests remain aloof about these matters, taking the gradual debilitation that comes with reading as a point of pride. May this serve as a useful starting point for those hoping to take up such study. Dictated to Anastasius Mitchum, 4th of the last seed and the 126th year of the second era.
Hundreds of years have gone into assembling this collection. It's going to stay pristine, understand?
Yeah. What could
You
I
need a
do?
book? You talk to me.
What can I
Otherwise
do?
you're going to find yourself in a lot
Well,
of
I think
pain.
the safest place for this book is obviously on the floor. And for this one,
I don't care if you wrote it yourself. If you want a book from here,
I'll put it over there,
you go
yeah.
through me.
they're the safest places.
The Arcanium is always accepting new volumes. I'll take what I can
Wait a
get.
minute, I'll go round to the front of him and talk to him, that would be a lot better.
This better be good.
Yeah, the Ruminations book is incomprehensible, exactly.
Aye, that's the work of Septimus Cygnus. He's the world's master of the nature of Elder Scrolls. But, well, he's been gone for a long while. Too long.
Dead?
Oh no, I hope not. But even I haven't seen him in years. And we were close. Became obsessed with the Dwemer. Took off north saying he had found some old artifact. Haven't seen him since. Somewhere in the ice fields, if you want to try to find him.
Right, so now I need to find Septimus Cygnus. Ugh, this is in no way getting any more complicated. Right. I need the Dragonrend Shout, exactly. Right, okay. Sarthal next, I think. See you there.